Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vishnu Gupta, Assistant Professor in the Department of Humanities, Sri Ram Swaroop Memorial University, Deva Road, Lucknow. Today's topic is, features of modernity in literature. In my first lecture, I had discussed you introduction to modernism. After that introduction, we must know what are the basic features that are visible in literary texts. So, the first and foremost feature is the departure from traditional form. We know that ancient literature and ancient pieces of literature, they have well knit form, well structured form. But in modern time, in modern age, whatever literary pieces we get, they did not follow that ancient well knit, well structured format. There is variation, there are modifications. These modifications tell because in modern age, human life cannot be lived on the basis of the structured already designed in the classical period. So they are indicative of that modern reality. Next point is the scientific outlook towards reality. We must know that in classical period, this earth was theocentric. Theocentric means God-centered. Everything was based on God's ideology, God's thinking, and especially believe in God. And whatever was explained, that was on the basis of this is perhaps the instructions of God or that religious text. So the religious texts were on the center. Whatever morality had to be taught, that was with reference to the religious text. But in modern age, that cannot be believed. Because of the invention of so many scientific discoveries, scientific innovations, people's mind have become rational. They wanted the critical inquiry into things, and that is why towards every reality there is scientific outlook, and that is also visible in almost all the literary text produced in modern age. Another feature, this scientific inquiry into matter. What happened in classical period, that whatever was written, whatever was inscribed on the basis of theocentric significance or theocentric discussion, that means on the basis of religion, nobody could question. One has to believe because it was the matter related to the divine world. But today, everyone can question. Unless and until they believe, they find the reality practically, materially, they won't believe. So for every reality, there is scientific inquiry into matter. Then there is resistance against superstition. If we go through the classical period literature, we find many stories, many tales, which today, if we start thinking, they are unbelievable. There is no reality. We know that they seem that they are wrong. So in scientific age, because people became rational, so they have expressed resistance against superstition. They did not believe in superstition. Then there is disjunctive sentences. This is a style of writing in the text. T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland is the most appropriate example for understanding the features of modernity. T.S. Eliot, a giant figure of English, or the great figure of literature, he has used very disjunctive sentences in The Wasteland, the greatest poem. So this disjunctive of sentences shows that the man's life and reality, it curtailed. There is no one particular flow like in the classical period. Man start deciding or walking on one path, but suddenly, because of the conditions, overriding condition, he has to switch continuously. He has to keep on switching from one to another. So that is this disjunctive sentences explain these things. Then there is precarious environment. What is precarious? Precarious means uncertainty. In modern age, we know there is nothing is certain. What you think, because of the war, because of the so many innovations, because of the overriding decisions, so many rules and regulations, you cannot fix on one plane. Man many times gets confused, sometimes this, sometimes that, and this, even his life is, because of the war conditions, because of the world wars, we know life is uncertain. His future is uncertain. Even economic condition also, the job probability or the job security is still uncertain. So that is visible in man's behavior and on his face also. So these figures occur in the text. Then inclusion of intertextuality. Man in modern age, he has reflections from many classical texts also, classical literature also. On the basis of he designs something in the mind. But today he tries to compare and contrast with the modern reality. So he does not represent the same thing from the older text, but he represents many references from the older text, from the classical text, whatever the reality he experiments in his own time, in the modern time. These are some literary techniques to express modernism. That is stream of consciousness technique. Stream of consciousness technique, we must know, it is just, flow of thoughts. There is certain condition in the mind of a man. One keeps on thinking, and while thinking, even the person is sitting at chair, and when he is chair in thinking, he keeps on thinking everything. Okay, I have to go there, then I will do there, and there are so many discussion. And then after half an hour, when he comes into senses, he thinks, oh, I am sitting here, and what I have thought. So this chain of thoughts is recorded in the literary text. So there is no particular time constraint or the management of time as compared to the classical text. So this stream of consciousness is the suitable technique for the modern reality. Now, another feature is urban lifestyle. We know what was the social structure, lifestyle in old time, in classical time, and what is today after the development. So, after all, the modern writers are watching, and they themselves are affected and impressed both. Sometimes impressed and sometimes affected by. So, they have to report. So, in modern literary text, the urban lifestyle is portrayed. Why? There is one thing again you can correlate with the departure. Why? Because today's life has no relation with these traditional structures. That is why they have to include this urbanization. Next feature is expressionistic techniques. What is expressionistic? If we compare to the classical period, in classical period, the reality was one, that is superficial. Nothing was inside. The man was one and only one. Whatever was inside him, that was reflected outside also. But today, man is not like that. He is very political also, and he lives in various planes. Sometimes he expresses something else, and he hides something inside. So to portray the real reality, what is the difference? Modernists think that the superficial reality, what is outwardly visible, is not the real reality. So how to portray the inner reality? Just like X-ray. That is also called X-ray technique. We know that our photography takes only external reality. But what is within the mind, what is within the heart, it cannot be presented through photography. For that, there is X-ray. So this technique is also called X-ray technique. Like expressionistic technique, there are certain cues, certain symbols, certain agitations, body behaviors. They reflect what the man bears inside him. And Eugene O'Neill is the brilliant example. His plays are full of expressionistic technique. They report the inner reality of the man. Next feature is inclusion of machine imagery. The modern age is the age of machine and technology. And man is using, not only using, he is affected and he is addict also. So in his life, the machines play vital role. So in modern text, you will find the inclusion of car, machinery, car, mobile, and these motor, truck, all these things there. Every text has some or other symbols or inclusion of such images. Like life and mental condition after World War. This is the new reality in modern age. After the World War, American attack on Japan, entire world was terrified. There was uncertainty of life. Man could not be certain about his own life, job, future. And this fear is visible. This fear has also been recorded by the authors in several texts. Next feature is unheroic or antagonistic characterization. Today, if we can compare the epical characters, the heroic characters of classical age, like Homer and Homer's Odyssey, Ulysses, or like if you take Indian epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, so those heroes cannot be compared with the today, because today man's activity is not like that. He is disturbed, he is upset, he does not use those techniques of life. He uses different strategies, different styles, techniques, including politics and negotiation also. So he cannot be a hero. That is why the modern text represent unheroic characters. The antagonistic, he is not protagonist, but reality is that. Freudian analysis. Freud has gave a new philosophy of human psychology. In ancient literature, there was no such use of that. However, after the emergence of this Freudian analysis, the ancient texts are also being analyzed on the basis of the philosophy, or you can say theory of Freud. This gives again the hidden reality, or you can say the mental reality of the man. Here I cannot go in the detail because I am dealing with the features of modernity. Next is psychological reality of literary characterization. Today, the characterization, or in the modern text, the text dealing with the modern literature, they also have the psychological reality. So these are the major features. Thank you very much for these things. Thank you very much.